Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes. This is episode 236 for all those that are counting. And I have a great guest on today. We're going to talk about all kinds of great stuff, but most of it's going to be about becoming memorable. And I think as you listen to this program, you're going to see that, hey, if both Rob and my guest can do it, you can do it. So I want to welcome Joy Kriston to the show, and thanks for being here. It's great.
Thank you for having me.
You
It's
know,
an honor.
I know that you're new to the world of podcasting, but you're not new to the world of copywriting. And, you got to start somewhere, right? So whether this is your first or third or 20th podcast, you always come on board and you try to make it as memorable as you can. And but I really like your backstory. I mean, to me, that's fascinating. Most people know that I was this former carpet cleaner who started a consulting business, started a publishing company, wrote a bunch of books, and now I have this podcast. But you were a former banking specialist for 18 years dealing with emotionally charged situations. I mean, I don't think I could deal. I mean, I go on the bank just for a few minutes and I've had enough,
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that would frustrate the crap out of me. And here you are dealing it like a true professional, but you're using that those situations to make better copy choices, I think.
I think so. I think it connects all together. I think your past experiences of whatever jobs that you've had through your life are experience for the next one. It could be something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, I think maybe my love for people started in this job. Sometimes a love-hate thing, depending on the day.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I see that kind of all people are the same when they come in. They just want to be heard. They'll
Mm-hmm.
wait in the lineup all day just to cash a little check just so that they can have a meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, you kind of felt like a psychologist. Like you're there, you're not just a body sitting there,
Yeah.
depending on how you approach it. So yeah, it's one of those things where people they have a job, people change jobs a lot in their life, but sometimes they just stay stuck because they're just not thinking about, doing anything different. They just kind of go through the motions and
Mm-hmm.
keep doing what they're doing, but they always kind of think in the back of their head, well, what else is out there? What else could there be for me? Is this all there is, kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's very much.
Yeah. I know for me, I've gone to the bank a few times and I've had some issues with the banks in the prior years. I mean, I don't think I've had any issues since I joined this credit union about, I don't know, 10 years ago. But before that, typical bank, you'd wait in line and just like, oh my God, it's a small check, move along,
Yeah.
but and the banks would have these hours and I'm like, I got 10 minutes to get to the bank before they close. And it's ridiculous. Now it's like, you know, I think I have one customer that sends me a check. Everybody else pays me with a credit card.
Right.
So
Everything is online banking
I
now,
still have to
all
drive to the
online.
bank once a month for that one check.
Oh, you can just take a picture and do the mobile app.
I can't that. I guess my bank doesn't offer it for commercial accounts. They do
Oh,
for
okay.
residential. Or
Yeah.
yeah. So it's there's still some frustrations with banks, but by and large, how have you taken some of those stories, those frustrations, and made better copy?
Honestly, I just think it's all about asking questions. Like I'm a big question asker.
Mm.
Like, and you know this. I ask a million questions and it's because I want answers. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know how people are thinking. Everyone thinks so differently and I just can't understand, I'm trying to understand where someone's coming from, where someone else is coming from and why they don't why can't they just agree to disagree? Why can't they just see it from their point of view? And I think in the bank, it's very much that way. You get people from all walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
They all want the same thing. They just want to be noticed. They want to be asked about their day. They want you to take interest in them. That's all anybody wants. And it's the same with copy. Like we want to know what people's desires are. What's going to solve their problem. It's all relative. It's all the same, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that, I started learning copy in 1998. I met Dan Kennedy and studied a lot of his stuff. And, we talk about, pain points, trying to relieve those pain points. But I think nowadays, people have it's more than just pain points. You got to solve their other problems too.
Yeah. You have to connect with them on a deeper level. Like, it's like you're speaking to them, and like direct response, as you know, is a relationship. It's not about selling. So you're having a conversation with a friend that you would tell them something that you want them to know that you're so excited about, but you're saying that to a stranger, but they're still reading it and their heart is beating fast and they think that you're laser focused on them. That's the sign of good copy. And, I've read plenty like that where I've thought, wow, this is what I want to write like every single time, it's how I felt when I just read that sales letter or whatever. So
now when you were in the banking industry, and was it something that prompted you to be a copywriter? Because I know when I woke up years ago as a carpet cleaner, I'm like, yeah, I don't, am I going to be a marketer one day? Am I, it just happened kind of, I evolved,
No, there was a story, and I talked about this on the last podcast, is that, so it'll be a repeat.
Yeah, we stopped. Go to the last podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like just a moment, where stuff was happening at work and there were problems, and I had to do something about it because there was a breaking point there. And so I wrote a letter to the VP in my province, and he was a very difficult man to get a hold of, would not respond to anyone's messages, calls, nothing. So busy, right? And I wrote the letter that same day. He responded and said, when can we have a call? So the next day we had a 2-hour call. We ended up fixing, led to fixing what the problem was. But it all boiled down to that letter. The letter was good. It caught his attention. I put my heart and everything into that letter. And, it was my experience. And after that, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know in what capacity. I didn't even know what copywriting was. I need to get paid to write. That was just my decision right there. Since I was a kid, I've always written. I've always done well in English. Like the teachers always, separated me from the class when it came to stuff like that. But like a lot of people in life, when they're young and they have a gift or a talent, they might not realize it. Maybe they don't have, anyone to nurture them with it and kind of lead them that way. So then they end up getting a job that doesn't suit them. And then they go through life and 10 or 20 years might go by, and then they get older and older. But so I'm lucky that happened, because that was the pivotal moment where, okay, what am I going to do? So signed up for a course, started to learn the skill around the job. And then just from there, it was my own story is probably pretty different from everyone else, because, it was a course of different courses I had to take. And then I took some chat closing training, private training. Then the network started to get better because of probably the second group I was in. Then I started meeting more people. I got on with a few agencies, and then the network started growing even more. And then it got to a point where I just wanted to just forget it. I'm not even going to try to look for clients. I'm just going to be myself, and that's it. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. My network is really good. I've met people all over the world. I'm partnering with different people, for anything and everything. It's just like a pinch me, like where I feel like this is my life now. Like, where am I going to go? I don't know, but it's exciting.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I have clients all over the world, and when I had the cleaning business, it was local to my town. So everybody in my town knew me. And, so they would call me at home, and, I'd see them at the mall or the restaurant, and it was like, ah. But now that I have this marketing business, and it's like I have clients all over, I'm anonymous now in my own town. Nobody knows me. I can go out to restaurants, and it's like, but yet I go to Dallas, I go to San Diego, I go, and people are like, Rob, and I'm like, oh crap.
Isn't that funny?
So it's,
That's the same with me too. Not at the level that you're at with your marketing business and you're an author, but no one knows me in my town either.
yeah.
Nobody, no.
Yeah,
Not a soul.
it's kind of nice that way because, now we're free to be, ourselves in our own communities, and nobody
Yeah.
bothers us. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. We're known globally, but nobody knows us in our, locally.
Yeah. So I'm interested to know, you're an author. What kind of books have you written? Because I'm sorry, I haven't done enough research
I
yet.
know, that's terrible. I've written a lot of pop-up books. No. Yeah, they probably sell better. I've written books on social media. I've written books on SEO, on life lessons, copywriting, podcasting, weight loss. I've helped
Oh, wow. Lots.
lawyers with their books. And I have a whole series on sarcasm called Rob Versus.
Oh,
And
I'm going to have to look those up.
yeah, I mean, it's me taking on the Visa and MasterCard scammers that call, or the lousy customer service, and it's just me wasting their time. And it's very
Oh,
funny. But after
yeah.
every story, I have a little blurb, a little life lesson, and people love them. People can connect with them, and people can relate to them because they can see themselves in those same situations. And it's kind of like you take Chicken Soup for the Soul and add sarcasm, and that's what it is. And it's fun to write. There's 6 of them. I have 2 more coming out in 2023, and it's just people all over the world have loved the books, and
That's awesome.
which is nice because I don't write the books to make money per se. I make them to enhance my legacy that I leave behind.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it. I've started writing a couple of books as well, novels. They're in the early stages, but I have 2 on the go right now. And I mean, it's one of those things you really have to make time for, which can be tough. You have to
Well,
carve it out.
right now I'm producing about 4 books a year. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. I started writing. My first book was published in 2013. And so it's now 2013 or 2023 as this recording, and we'll have produced our 36th book this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's you kind of get it down to a science where okay, this is what I got to do and how you got to do it and how the books are going to look, and then get covers made and pop them out, and maybe I simplified a few steps, but once you get a few books down, there's a system, and it's very easy to follow. It's just like copywriting, the title, the headline, the subheadline, the copy, and all you're doing is repeat.
Yeah. It's funny because the saying, you write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that you write what you know, but it was recent that I read in one of Stephen Pressfield's books. I'm not sure if it was, I think it was Going Pro, or Turning Pro. He said, you write what you don't know, because it's just like copy. That's how you know it. That's how you stretch yourself and challenge yourself. And I thought, it's so simple. Like, it's such a simple thing to say, but I love it because that's just it. You're not that would mean everybody would just write one thing that they know.
Right. Well, and everybody says, I want to write a book, and I'm like, well, do it. And they're like, well, what do I say? I'm nobody. I'm like, you know what? You are somebody, because
Yeah.
those experiences that you've lived are yours to share.
Yeah.
But they don't. And I said, look, you got a phone? Talk into it. Make a video. Share
Yeah.
your story. And then what we do is we transcribe it, smooth it out. Bam, there's chapter 1.
Yeah.
Repeat, repeat, repeat. Now you got 12 chapters of the book.
That makes me think of something. The other day I was just at the store, and there was this young guy behind the till, and we ended up talking about writing. I have no idea how it got brought up, but he brought up that he writes poems, and I'm like, oh, awesome. And he said that he has this thick book, and then he started to go on about it, and of how many he had. And then he's like, yeah, I'm writing I'm writing scripts for songs. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, are you doing anything with that? Like, have you made the first step? And he's just, the look on his face, like no one's asked him that before, right? Like, well, you got to get on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm as I'm listening to you, I'm actually looking at a picture on your website, and it says, I can't hear you, speak louder. And that's exactly what we have to do as marketers to get people to understand who we are, what we do, and how we can help them. And
Yeah.
and we have to rise above the noise to get in their head. And
Yeah.
and sometimes that's hard. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
copywriting helps, because you get to share that emotionally frustration charged, story, and people are like, wow, yeah, I like that, or I can relate, or that really ticks me off. But
They,
they
yeah.
feel
Yeah.
something.
They just want, like, as a business owner or a coach, they, might have difficulty, like, with the control aspect of it, which I can understand. Like, they're probably thinking, well, how do I know that you can write like me and what I'm trying to say? I might not be able to know what structure, and from their point of view, but I just want to know that it's gonna come across the way I intend it to do it. And that's part of the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have revisions. That's why you ask all the questions. We're trying to get in there into their brain. It's almost like I don't know, this might sound dramatic, but like, if you're going to try to do it well, that you become that person, like
Mm-hmm.
but you want to become the client more than anything, like the
Right.
prospect, because that's who it's being sold to. So
Right.
selling without selling, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to get into the mind of your client, and sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
I like to interview them, because then I get to know them a little bit, play it back over and over and over again. And there it becomes a broken record. So I start to repeat, and their voice becomes, infused into the copy.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's that's the way you got to do it. You got to get into people's heads, and but sometimes getting into people's heads, you get sidetracked. And I know off air we talked about your sidetrack projects and your collaborations, and
Yeah.
can you share a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, so since I've started with a lot of things, you might feel like you're being pulled in different directions. So there was a little bit of time there where maybe, I might have taken on a few affiliate things and thought, okay, I'll try this. Well, that's not, they're just sitting there. I mean,
They
that's where
become
they lay.
they become shiny objects.
Yeah. And then I even had some people call me out, other copywriters were like, Joy, I love you, but you can't get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a wake up call too. And, and, but the collaboration piece, and then just with different referral partners with different businesses and companies, it doesn't even matter. That I feel has really helped me. That's made people come to me almost on a daily basis, just to find out, what I'm all doing, because I also refer solar.
Mm-hmm.
So that in turn has now had solar companies come to me and say, oh, well, can you write for me as a copywriter? I'm like, absolutely, because that's what I do. That's my main thing. So, there's ways that people say you got to stick with one thing, and you only do that one thing, and you do it really well. And I do agree with that. But at the same time, you don't say yes to every opportunity, but you also don't you got to be open. Like
Right.
I'm very open about like having a Zoom with anybody, whether
Yeah,
you want to
see?
sell me.
We're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Whether you have something to sell me or you just want to network, you have questions, or it's for a coffee job. Sometimes I get on and I have no idea what we're going to talk about because we don't say before.
Yeah.
But out of some of those, it's amazing. But some of the connections have come from some of those calls. So I think people need to do that more. They need to just be more open, put themselves out there.
Yeah. I mean, you've become very known in the solar energy arena, and that's great. And that is your strength. But sometimes I think, like you said, you focus on that thing that you're good at. Sometimes we get bored and we want to
That's
see,
true too.
we want to see what else is out there. The problem is those things that are out there, because we're not sure what they are, or they frustrate us, or they take too much of our time. They're energy vampires. It prevents us from doing what we're really good at.
Exactly.
And so I get distracted sometimes too, and I take on clients I probably shouldn't. I've learned to say no, although then it becomes this great conversation that ends up in my books. So I think after a while you just got to focus on that one thing that you're good at and make the money.
Right, exactly. And I get that, all the time too, where people say, well, Joy, you need to niche. What's your offer? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is a service. Like, I'm not going to just say email copy and this is going to get you this much. That's not at all. I know a lot of people do that, but I prefer and also too, I'm all about collaborations with other copywriters too. I think that's key. Find another person that can write like you, that's similar, that has the same work ethic, and run with it. See what happens. Business partnerships, they fail all the time, and you might have a falling out, whatever might happen, but that doesn't mean you can't do that again with someone else. I think people have a big, there's a trust issue with so many people, if not everybody, really. Yeah. I mean, I get people in my messages quite often, even today, leaving the voice clip saying, I don't know what it is about you, but I just feel like I can trust you. Like I can just tell. I'm like, awesome, because that's what I want. That's.
And I'm looking at this awesome testimonial from somebody from Bermuda, and it says, working with you is effortless. You're efficient, reliable, and has brought a fresh approach to copywriting. And to me, right there, if I saw that, not only does it have a trust factor, but I kind of feel safe that, hey, if I'm going to hire you, this is what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I would never want anyone to have a regret. They say under promise, over deliver. I don't know. I think I almost want to say over promise, over deliver. But yeah, it's like you're only as good as your last project. So when I look at stuff I've written a year or two ago, I'm just like, oh my God, that's awful. It's just like, where did that come from? But you're always getting better and better.
I still look back on some of the old books that I've written. I'm like, did I write this?
That was me.
Yeah. But I've written some good pieces over the years. I've written some trash pieces, and I know exactly which ones I have my heart and soul in.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that sometimes I write pieces. I write books for me. I don't write them for anybody else. I mean, one of my best books was Lessons from the Dojo, and it was 101 kick butt ways to improve your life, business, and relationships. And I wrote that for me. And people are like, well, it's a good book, Rob. I said, yeah, it is. Every page is a different lesson. I kept it simple. And the week I was going to launch that book, was the week that my wife and I were going to Italy. So the launch fizzled. I didn't care. But it's been 7 years, and the book is selling more now than it did back then.
Well, I'm going to buy it when we get off this call. I wanted a list of all of them for sure. I'm a big book person, obviously. No,
but
yeah,
it's the reason I wrote that book is because every day it gave me a new reminder of how to improve what I'm doing. And yes, there's a little bit of sarcasm in there, but I didn't start shining with my sarcasm until the Rob Versus books. And that's where more people are connecting with me, because they can sense the laughter. They can it's kind of a break from their day. They're not learning, how to be better at podcasts or social or SEO. What they're doing is they're escaping for a moment to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, because if people will laugh at your stuff, or they'll get some emotional out of it, they're going to remember you better.
Yeah.
And so I picked up more clients now from this series of sarcastic books than I have from all the other books.
Oh, I believe it. Because you're being your authentic self, because you said more now than ever. And people know that. They have this weird ability of seeing through all of that stuff. And I find too, like, just when people say, well, how can I put myself out there? I don't know what to do. And just start small. Somebody a long time back told me, Joy, when you post something, you never put your picture up. Why don't you? You're going to get more engagement. I'm like, what? I hate taking selfies. Regardless of what people think, they probably don't agree with that. But it was true. I would put the pictures up. The people just want to see what you look like. They want to see who is talking to them. So they feel more connected with you.
Sometimes, I'll wake up and my hair's a mess and it'll be all over the place, and I'll just take a selfie and put it out there, and people are like, and I'll get 100 likes, and I'm like, you guys are dumb. And then I'll take a serious picture and I get like 3 likes, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So but you know what? For me, it's all about entertainment. I got to put myself out there. I got to be memorable. And it's really hard because, when I was in high school and college, it's like, I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be memorable. I didn't want to stand out. But as a owner of a company, I have to do that every single day.
That's and I think that's, you've got these back end businessmen that are always in behind the scenes. They're really successful, making a lot of money. Yes, that's true. That's different. When you have something like this, like in the marketing space, you have to put yourself out there. There's no other way. And it's uncomfortable at first. And even if you are an extrovert, you still have to push yourself. I'm not a huge fan of doing videos like on my wall, like a video. And people keep saying, well, you got to do these. And yes, I know. And
I did videos for when YouTube first came out, I would do videos all the time and pop them up there. And, I got some traction, and then I stopped, and then I started back again, and I stopped. But the last, 4 months, I've been doing 1 or 2 videos every single day. I'll put them up on TikTok. I'll share them on Instagram. I'll put them on my Facebook page. I'll throw them over on YouTube. And I've been getting clients left and right.
See, that's awesome, because just last night I was looking at some of your really short ones on YouTube. And that's really smart, because you're talking about something like a profound thing, something that's important and relevant. And it's just a short, like 1.5 minute, 2 minute long. And that's perfect, because people have the short attention span. So,
And as you noticed, you became a friend on LinkedIn, and I sent you that short YouTube video. It wasn't a sell, it wasn't a pitch. It was just, hey, thanks for connecting. Very simple, 15-second thing. And I've been sending that out for the last 2 years on LinkedIn. And my LinkedIn channel has grown, I think, 3,000 fans in 2 years.
Wow. I need to do that too, because I'm new to LinkedIn.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's the little things that you do every single day that add up to big things down the road. So
yeah, I think so too. And I think it's probably important to meeting the right people. And sometimes you don't know who the right person is, but you won't know that until you keep meeting more and more people, kind of thing. So
yeah, you just keep meeting the authentic ones that are going to get you to where you want to go, or have, done the things that you want to do. And,
yes,
there are a lot of people out there that I probably wouldn't recommend. But it's a life lesson, and sometimes my personality clashes with others. So it's like, hey, okay, I know that your personality is not like me. So why don't I refer you to this person who's a little bit more timid that will help you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. And they would appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I try to do the same thing as well. If I think something won't fit with me, I'll find you someone that will. Just, out of my own time, that's fine. Just to make sure that you're taken care of, kind of thing. It goes a long way.
So how do people find you? Where do they go?
Well, I've only ever gotten my clients from Facebook. Like to be honest, I have the website. The website's old, outdated. I've got to redo that. So none of my
Everybody
clients
has to redo their website.
Yeah, that's true. But none of
the thing is here, and yes, I build websites. Yes, I do SEO. Yes, I do all this other stuff. But here's the thing: is that you have something out there that shows people who you are. It has testimonials. It gives, even if it's old, send it to them. Send it to them, because at least they're going to say, "Hey, I love what you had to say there. I feel that you're very credible now. I can trust you."
Yeah.
So, I mean, share.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's through Facebook. It's through referrals. And it's now becoming a lot more steady, which is absolutely wonderful. And to a point where I feel like I can bring other people in. Like I've got this list of people that I'm like, oh, can't wait to give you this project because I don't have time to do it. And so it's just I just want to get one thing out there to anybody that's, lacks belief in themselves, and they think they don't have what it takes to just, because they don't have no idea. They know they want to be a business owner, they want to do something online, they just don't know where to start and how to get there. Literally, all just follow your passion, follow what your interests are, and then just start off with something like really, really small. Start learning the skill, start building your network, and don't put a time limit on it. Because I think a lot of people do that. That's what the amateur does. I think is that they're impatient with themselves.
Yeah. I've been in the coaching space for 20 years, and it didn't start taking off until about 10 years ago. So, there was 10 years of struggle.
Yeah.
So, you got to be patient. It's a long game.
No, it sure is. And I think that's why I'm not sure what the percentages are, but when I first took my first copy program to learn the skill, to be honest, nobody that I talked to at that same period of time is still doing it. And I think the period was probably about 6 months. They'd hang on for 6 months and then they're doing something different. I'm done.
So what I'll do, everybody, is I'm going to put Joy's Facebook link down below. It's /joy.kriston with an O. But I'll put that down in the bar. So if you're seeing this on video, you'll see the link. If you're listening to it on podcast, it's joy.kriston, and you'll find her on Facebook. And so that also give Joy some feedback. This was her third podcast. I think she did awesome. What do you guys think? Just send her some love, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Adios.